G'day guys and welcome back to another One Piece deck profile. Today we're going to be checking out the other big bad black deck in OP06, which is Gecko Moria. So brand new leader for OP06, and it's kind of similar in Sakazuki as it likes to be a little bit controlly, but in the same breath it does play fairly differently to Sakazuki. But let's have a look at Gecko Moria. So Gecko Moria, mono black leader, 5,000 power, starts with 5 life. Don times 1, when attacking, rest 2 Don, trash a card from your hand, then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck, then play 1 Thriller Bark type character with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. So as you can see by the effect there, we love using trash in Gecko Moria. Goes really well with the character's ability from the manga and the anime. But this ability allows you to recycle, reuse, removal, cost reduction, hand control cards, which is all really nice. Also allows you early game to get a bigger body out on your second turn. So if you're going first, you have your 3 Don, you can touch a Don, swing in there. So yeah, plenty of great options there. So with Gecko Moria, don't really mind going first or second because we have that play where we can bring out a character, a 4-cost character for 3 Don, which is really good, and get a swing in there. Otherwise, going second, you can get some trashing and then still bring out a 4-cost character. This build that I have here of Gecko Moria is just designed to be nice and consistent, fairly similar to our Sakazuki build. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. But a build that doesn't have any fancy tech cards or anything like that, just designed to be nice and consistent. So let's just take a look at it. First of all, we're going to look at one of the 2k counters that we're running. We're actually running 12 2k counters in this deck. The first one here is Sindri. This costs you 1 2000 body, a 2000 counter, is a Thriller Barks pirate type, so it can be recycled with Gecko Moria. The on play is if your leader is Thriller Barks type, you can trash 5 cards from the top of your deck. So it fills your trash up. As I said before, we like to use our trash, so we can recycle pretty much all the Thriller Bark cards except for 1 with Gecko Moria's effect, and that's where Dr. Hogback comes in, because that helps us to recycle the only card that's a Thriller Bark that is too big to be used by your leader's ability or recycled by your leader's ability. So that's basically the big Gecko Moria, the character Gecko Moria, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But Dr. Hogback costs you 4 5000 body, 1000 counter, can be brought out for just 3 Don with your leader's ability, which is nice. The on plays, you return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order, add 1 Thriller Bark Pirates type card other than Dr. Hogback from your trash to your hand. So as I mentioned, you want to add the big character, because if we trash it, there's no other way to get it back into a hand to reuse it. Otherwise, if you don't need the Gecko Moria, you can definitely add back your Peronas or your Absalons that allow you to get can control, reduction, and removal going on. First, we're going to have a look at the cards that allow us to get some good cost reduction. And the first one looking at is a 2k counter, is the Perona. Costs you 4 5000 body, 2000 counter. The on play, if your opponent has 5 or more cards in the hand, you get to choose one of the following. The first is your opponent trashes 1 card from the hand, really good for that hand control. The other one is you can give one of your opponent's characters a -3 cost during this turn. So both those effects are really great, can be summoned off your leader's ability, can be recycled a few other ways as well. Next up, we are running a full playset of Suru, another one of our 2k counters. On play, you can give one of your opponent's characters a -2 cost during the turn, and we have a few ways of bringing out Suru. The last character that gives us cost reduction is we're running 3 copies of Helmeppo. This costs you 2 3000 body, 1000 counter. On play, give one of your opponent's characters -3 cost during this turn. So both the Suru and the Helmeppo cannot be recycled off your Gecko Moria, but they can be recycled off a Rebecca, which we are playing, which we'll talk about in just a moment. The next cards that we're running are some events that help us with some cost reduction. First of all, running Great Eruption while we still can, costs you 1. Activate main, you can draw a card, then give one of your opponent's characters -2 cost during the turn. The trigger is your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand. So really good card, allows you to draw, allows you to get some cost reduction, bringing things closer into that range to be KO'd. And the last card that we're running in terms of cost reduction is running full playset of Ice Age. Cost you 1, main effect, -1 character by 5 cost during the turn. The trigger is you can KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So all around a great card to run. Next up, we're going to look at the removal cards that we have access to, running a full playset of Lucci. Cost you 4 6000 body, no counter. On play, place 3 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Very similar to your Sakazuki, you're going to prioritize the events with this effect because you can recycle all the Thriller Bark cards with your leader or your Hogback, and your Rebecca can recycle all your other cards, your character cards. So you mainly want to focus on those events. Then you can KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less, and a character with a cost of 1 or less. As we've seen, we've got a lot of cost reduction options available to us, so that effect should be pretty easy to get out on board. And we are also running a full playset of Absalon, cost you 4, 5,000 body, 1,000 counter. On play, return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order, similar to the Lucci. You want to focus on those events, and then you can KO 1 character with a cost of 2 or less. So Absalon can be recycled over and over again with the Moria, really good. For 3 Don, you're basically killing something with a cost of 2 or less, and with that cost reduction, that's quite easy to get to that point. Next, we want to talk about the big bad boss monster of the deck. We're running a full playset of Gecko Moria, cost you 8, 9,000 body. On play, choose 1 character with a cost of 4 or less and 1 character with a cost of 2 or less. Play them both out. One comes out as active and the other comes out as rested. So in terms of removal, you can recycle both the Lucci and the Absalon off this effect there. So Absalon can be recycled off Leader and Moria, where Lucci can just be recycled off the Moria character. Both of these being on play is really good, so these guys can come out in the rested position, and you can save your active position for some blockers. We have some low cost blockers that can be brought out. Otherwise, you can have these ones in active and some of your cost reduction stuff as rested. And the Moria helps you recycle all those cost reduction characters that we've spoken about as well. You just got to make sure that you're picking the right one to become active and the one to become rested. Right, rounding off the deck, we're going to look at the blockers, and we're running plenty of them. The first one, we're running 3 copies of Cerberus. This one can be brought out in an active position with your Moria's ability, which is really nice. Cost you 2, 2,000 body, 1,000 counter, just a blocker, no other fancy effects going on there. We're also running 3 copies of Sabo, cost you 5, 6,000 body, 1,000 counter. So this is the only character that can't be brought out with the Moria, so just keep that in mind. Can be recycled back to your hand with the Rebecca, which we'll talk about later on, but otherwise there's no way to cheat out Sabo. Sabo's on play effect is none of your characters can be KO'd by effects until the start of your next turn. Then you also draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards, so really good at filling up that trash, digging for those pieces that you need. Next up, running 3 copies of Borsellino, 4 cost, 5,000 body, 1,000 counter. Opponent's turn, this character gains 1,000 power and cannot be carried by effects. Just a really sticky blocker, can be brought out by that Moria, which is really nice. And then we're also running 3 copies of Rebecca. So Rebecca costs you 4, no power, 1,000 counter. On play, add 1 character with a cost of 3 to 7 other than Rebecca from your trash to your hand. So that's the only way we can recycle the Sabo. We can also recycle the Lucci back to our hand, the Absalon back to our hand, the Borsellino if we need to. And then we can play out a character with a cost of 3 or less rested from our hand. So we can play out the Suru and the Helmeppo rested to get their cost reduction stuff going on right there, and then be able to play out a character afterwards, like your Absalon or Lucci, or you can cheat out the Absalon with your Leader's ability. So lots of great options there in the deck. It does require a little bit of thinking, a little bit of practice to get those combinations right. The only thing that I found I really struggled sometimes with this is just being consistent with finding that removal. Maybe in a future iteration might have a few more KO or removal techs in the deck there, but for now this has brought us the most success. Alright, there is the deck in all of its glory. Let us know what you think of it. Let us know if there's anything you do different. Let us know if you have any cool tech cards that you're running in your version of Gecko Moria. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Stay beautiful, and we'll see you all in the next one.